Manchester City 1, Southampton 0. Another close game in terms of the score line, but City dominant throughout. They go back top of the league, but it has been a drama-filled afternoon. I've ruined it for Brighton today. I should have waited until the full-time whistle to tweet. I praise how well-run a club they are. They were sitting in fourth place. They were 2-0 up. It was a close game, but they got through it, and I just thought, wow. Brighton, they're just getting stronger and stronger. And I tweeted it, and they literally had a collapse at the end and drew 2-2. Villa bottle it with the last kick of the game and throw away massive points. Brentford have just scored a last-minute winner, it looks like, against Ipswich. They were 2-0 down. They were 3-2 up. It went back to 3-3. And I saw people tweeting today saying, what a horrible afternoon of football these Premier League fixtures are. That tells me you're an elitist. That tells me you're a football snob. That tells me you don't understand what you are looking at, because we have just witnessed some excellent games. Man City, though, that is who we're covering, of course, from the top six today. And look, yes, I think maybe there may have been some nerves at the end from some Manchester City fans, but it was another cool, calm, and collected performance. Erling Haaland stepping up and scoring another goal. And I want to repeat this again. Another goal. Another goal. And I think from my point of view, so what am I wearing? Oh, my kids got me this. And my Freya begged me to wear it. So I said I would ages ago. And she asked me to wear it today. And she's my daughter, so I'm not going to let her down. Because she's more important than all of you. With all due respect, and me. She's more important than me. But look, Erling Haaland steps up. It's weird. He actually missed some easier chances than the goal he scored today. But I love these goals today. Do you know why I love these goals? Because for the uninitiated or the haters, Erling Haaland's goal today will be, oh, look at that. It was a tap-in. It's another tap-in. That ain't a tap-in. The man was getting dragged. He was off balance, and he didn't just get his foot to the ball. The power and the accuracy that he was able to generate from that position is why he is the best finisher in the world right now. It's why he's the best finisher the Premier League has ever seen. And I've just got this fervent belief that by the time he retires, he'll be in the top 2, top 3 finishers that we've ever seen grace European football. And I'm just talking finishing ability here, nothing else. So don't get your knickers into a twist or start crying into the comments section. And yes, you're right. It's an ugly goal, but ugly goals are so needed. Do you want to know why they're needed in football? Do you want to know why ugly goals are so important? Because the ability to score them wins you games like today. The ability to score that ugly goal in that awful situation gets City the 3 points. The one element I would be slightly concerned about if I was a City fan is the performances still are not picking up. Yes, we know they've got the ability to win these games. They're playing Southampton this week. They're playing Wolves last week, 2 of the worst teams in the Premier League. They've got some tougher opponents on the horizon. The performance levels are undoubtedly going to have to go up from Manchester City. I think every single City fan out there will be very, very aware of that. But the reason why I don't think it is a huge talking point with the mainstream media, the reason why it isn't, in my opinion, going to be covered at large by the media outlets is because we just know this City team can up their game and most likely will up their game. There's a comment here that says, Salvinio Baller. I've got a controversial take and you're not going to like it, I think, bro. I don't think you're going to like my take. I think there is a great amount of technical ability in this man, but his lack of output worries me. His lack of output, if I was a Manchester City fan, would genuinely be a concern for me. Beats a man with ease. He's really tidy in possession. I'm not saying he's a crap footballer. I'm not saying he's like a Mihajlo Mudryk. I'm not saying he's an Anthony. So before Jeremy Doku GOAT, before you come at me and say, but what about this player and what about that player? I'm talking about the context of Man City. I feel as though the reason why there's been a lot of games recently that you're winning 1-0, you're winning narrowly, is the likes of Salvinio, the likes of Doku have got to start to add more goals outputs to their tallies. With KDB, who's very good at the GA, with him being out and Haaland having a very good return so far this season, you need the other players, as Mahrez used to do as an example. As Sterling did in his pomp for you. I think he's a very talented player. I wouldn't be writing him off right now. I'm not saying he's crap. I'm not saying he's mid. I'm not saying he's a flop. I'm not saying that he's a horrible player. But by any stretch of the imagination, I'm not saying that whatsoever. I do think more output's got to be added. He's 19. Oh, I know he's 19. I know he's 19. This is why I'm not writing him off. But I'm just saying that's an important area. And City are going to need it, not just from him. City are going to need that from a number of other players. KDB coming back is going to be a real importance. But look, they're still top of the league. Okay, so I think City fans are relatively comfortable. But I'm just being honest here with what I see. I'm just being as objective as possible when it comes to the player. Very talented. And when those goals and when those assists start to come, what a phenomenal player that he could be. Foden and Salvinio, second half masterclass, should have been 4-0. Haaland's finishing today cost them a few assists. Yeah, you could definitely throw that out there. But remember, even if you look at the numbers, the conversion ratios of your Jimmy Greaves, of your Messis, of your Ronaldos, your R9s, these little players all sit between sort of 15 and 20%. So you're scoring 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 for, like, chances that are created for you. I still think they've all got, so there is that element of GA which is about other people finishing, but I still think, and I'd be wanting more goals from these individuals. I think they have the openings and the opportunities today to test the goalkeeper more, and it wasn't quite there. I'm not talking about scoring 25 goals each season, but I think they've got to start putting a bit more output, especially when you play for such a good, dominant team that creates so many chances. They're not playing for Wolves. They're not playing for Man United. They're playing for one of the best teams in the world right now. So I would expect a little bit more to come from him. Brentford versus Ipswich was way more entertaining than watching City winning with the refs' help against the relegation fodder. Akash, where did the referee help City today? Let's be honest about this. Where did the referee help City today? I didn't personally see that. I didn't interpret it that way. What decision are you talking about in particular? I mean, I had all the games on, actually. Obviously, I was using Southampton Sport, which you can use via our friends at NordVPN. So if you don't have a VPN provider, get it done. Then it's $2.99, $3.99 a month. Plus UFC's on it tonight. Well, UFC's starting now. All available. Even the box office, I think, is available on there. Let me go and check, actually. I'm going to check that while I'm here now. Let me just turn my Wi-Fi back on my iMac. And let me just switch it back on to Moldova, which it's on. Let me go to Southampton Sport. In the UK, you got to pay for the pay-per-view. You may not have to on Southampton if you use the VPN provider. Let me go and check for you guys now, because I know a lot of you care about this. Let's click on the UFC. Well, the prelims are available. Main card. If you got, it might be box office on there. I don't know. I need to check. Let's have a little look. Doesn't say that it is. I'm not going to let it play too much, but no, it's available. So yes, Southampton Sport, the UFC tonight, which is going to cost you £25 to watch if you're in England, £60 to £70 if you're in the United States. Pay-per-view is very expensive there. Is available cut price. So sign up to NordVPN so you can change your geolocation. Southampton Sports, bang. But yes, the Brentford Ipswich game was very, very good indeed. I love that match. Genuinely loved that match. I thought it was absolutely great. I enjoyed it. Brilliant. Absolutely loved it. It was an amazing game. The Villa game was also great today. The City game was always going to be more boring because there's such a difference in class. But there's one thing I want to speak about when it comes to City before I bring out my panel, and I don't think they always get enough credit for this. And this is a word where when it comes to, I think when you use this word now, it's got a little bit of a bad reputation because it's used on socials a lot and people try and talk like it's PR. City's aura is like another player for them. In the last few weeks, today was a prime example. Right at halftime, Southampton are through. Against Wolves, against Fulham, who actually did score against them. Both those teams had opportunities to go 2-0 up. You could argue Fulham had opportunities still to kill the game off or make it very hard for City to get 3 points. Wolves should have gone 2-0 up in their game, which would have made it a very different, considering apart from Haaland, City are struggling to score in the Premier League. All of them have the opportunity to really hurt City. But there's something about the power, the potency, the quality of City, which I think when I say, I use the word aura because that's how I would describe it. It's like it gets into the opponent's heads. Players get through on goal. And especially if they've got a little bit of time to think. If it's like really one quick pass, they've got to hit it first time, they might score. But when they've got time to think, when they get time to consider what to do, the power, the aura, the fear factor, the scary nature of City creeps in, and they miss. The abundance of gilt-edged chances teams missed against City isn't luck. City aren't lucky. It's their quality, their deadly nature. I think it gets into the head of their opponents. This happens in fighting sometimes. You know, you get someone that who's just when Mike Tyson was at his absolute best, people were almost beaten before they got into the ring. And I think City almost have that about them. And I did at halftime, I was sitting there looking at it thinking, has another team missed? You know for a fact, Southampton score that against Man United. I think they score it against Chelsea. They score it against Tottenham. When it comes to City, they miss. And again, I think a hater, I think somebody that's just talking through tribalism will say, City got lucky there. City got lucky. I don't think it is luck. It happens too regularly for it to be luck. For me, there has to be an element of, whether it's skill, no. But I think it's their skill, their quality, their system, their potency, their win record, the quality of players, the manager. Collectively, that aura, I think, really puts people off. I really, really do. Salvio created 100% goal chance. Haaland, horrible. Listen, I understand he created opportunities today, but go back and listen to what I said. This is long format content. This isn't 1 minute segments like on TV. Granted, he's created some chances and opportunities. I spoke about goals and scoring. I maybe need to be a little bit more specific about that again. I'll do it again now. So thank you, Vinicius. It isn't just still Salvinio. I mentioned Doku as well. With KDB out, with what was his name? Julian Alvarez. Was it Julian Alvarez? Gone. I think City, and I'm talking about winning the competitions here, need to start getting some more goals from others. And I'm not talking about relying on the best left back in the league scoring a screamer. I'm talking about your front players, your forward players delivering a few more goals. Granted, that was excellent today in his approach play. Like I've said, I am not saying Salvio or Salvinio, however you want to pronounce it, is a bad footballer. I'm not saying he lacks technical ability. I'm not saying he's a flop. All I've stated is that what I would want to see some more from him is some goals. You know, creativity was good today, granted, but I wouldn't, if I was a City fan, be getting on Haaland for missing opportunities. All strikers miss opportunities. I looked at him and Doku in recent weeks, and they're sometimes in such great positions to score, and they're not quite doing it. I think City need them, especially if you're performing like this in the next few weeks against the Tottenhams of this world. You're away at Brighton, which is a tougher game, although I screwed Brighton over today badly by praising them when they were 2-0 up. I should have done it. I'm just saying, listen, I'm splitting hairs here with one of the best teams in the world. It's constructive criticism, but in no way, shape, or form an attack. But I do know how the modern day football fans' mind works. If you don't say everything's brilliant and amazing, you're basically saying we're shit. Terry, we don't have a DM. That's our problem. Yeah, but you not having a DM isn't the reason why Doku and say Salvio don't take some of their goal scoring chances. That for me is bullshit. That doesn't make any sense. You know what, Xerxes missed gilt-edged chances for Man United? That isn't because we don't have a Frankie de Jong-esque DM. They can still score those chances. Then you wouldn't notice the missing element of if these guys, along with Haaland, were all putting in some more goals, and you were 3-0 up today, you wouldn't notice not having a DM. I'm just saying. I think it's fair criticism. Jeremy here says Salvinio, who's a City fan, says Salvinio and Doku need to score more, but they can defo create. I hear you on that. I hear you. I'm not saying they're bad football players. I'll concede the element of what I first said. I think it makes a lot of sense, and that's why we have these conversations. But then you say I'm waffling about Salvinio, but we agree. How am I waffling when we think exactly the same thing? Like I said, if I don't say everything positive and say, oh my God, everything's perfect. The psyche didn't affect Arsenal, though, because we scored 2. But again, I wouldn't expect Arsenal to be as impacted by the psyche and the aura of City as I would a Southampton, because Arsenal are a superior team compared to Southampton. The same as I've always said about Arsenal becoming scary. It was my perspective and point of view. I said all along, if people actually wanted to be objective, that I wouldn't expect anyone involved with City to be scared of Arsenal. Perspective, point of view, important in life. I agree with you. Salvio needs to shoot more, but I have a feeling he's instructed to feed Haaland. He almost never shoots. Maybe. Do you know why I disagree with that, though, my bro? Do you know why I disagree with that? you remember when Liverpool fans used to say Trent doesn't do this when he's defending because the manager tells him not to? Never believed that either. Because when Mahrez played for you, he shot and scored goals. And I've always said that when people say that about Jack Grealish, Jack Grealish is instructed not to do it. Then why when a different left-sided attacker starts instead of him or comes on, he does shoot and score more back when he first signed? The manager isn't changing the instructions of that position because you're a very regimented system. It's the individual, in my personal opinion. So I think of course, your manager will want a variation. You don't want Salvio shooting every time. You don't want him crossing every time. You want that mix. And then what you want is some goals being added into that too. Off topics, Obi Martin scored a 14-minute hat-trick for United's under-18s. Do you know what I've loved about this today? The triggered nature of, oh my God, you signed him and he's in the under-18s. Yeah, he's going to play a little bit in the under-18s and the under-21s because Man United bought him at this age, and we obviously need him to be classified as one of our academy players so that he'll tick certain homegrown boxes later on in his career. So yeah, watch this space. People are just so triggered by that. It's funny. Stop talking about stats all the time. Look at Roberto Baggio's stats in his Ballon d'Or season. Salah smokes his stats. But I'm not talking about Salvio winning a Ballon d'Or, am I? I'm talking about helping City win games. There is a big key distinction. So the reason why I think you need those players to start picking up some goals is if next week, and I'm touching wood, this doesn't happen, if Haaland's hamstring snaps and he misses 2 months, genuinely, where do you think the goals are coming from on a consistent basis against better teams? I think it isn't unfair to demand that Foden, that Doku, that Grealish, and Salvio between them start to score more goals. I think that is fair. I'm not saying Salvio needs more goals if he ever wants to win a Ballon d'Or. That isn't what I said. That's not what we're even talking about, my friend, in any capacity whatsoever. But great challenge, though. I do like the challenge. Foden, biblical stinker. I didn't think Foden was that bad today. I didn't think he was that bad today. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I wouldn't say it was world class or anything, but I didn't think he was that bad today. But there we go. Villa and Brighton dropping points kind of helped Arsenal in terms of the standings. Yeah, I couldn't believe both of them. In fairness, I had them both in accumulators today, and I cashed out. I cashed out. I needed both of them to win. When Brighton went 2-0 up, I cashed out, and then I wrote my tweet. And this is what I tweeted. This is what I tweeted. And my haters are going to cook me for this, even though it doesn't make it untrue. It's just the timing. I tweeted, Brighton are the best pound-for-pound club in England. As their revenue rises, they're leveling up and getting stronger every season. And I do still stand by it. Look where they are in the league still, right? It's still true. But I said they need to add trophies next. But what a journey it has been. And then literally, they can see, I tweeted it, and they conceded 2 goals in a couple of minutes, straight after. I am so sorry, Brighton. I'm genuinely so sorry that I hurt you like that. The jinx is mad. But yeah, Aston Villa, yeah, they had the 3 points. Do you know what, by the way? It does go to prove a few things. Bournemouth are a very good team. Very well run, very, very well structured. They are. And it proves that Chelsea's win against them away from home was very good. And it also goes to prove that they can get points off of the big boys in this league. And they could get points this season off of City, and they could get points, probably more at home against Liverpool as well. It's plausible. Very, very good team, especially when you don't take your chances. Had him triple captain today. The motherfucker let me down. Who did you have? You need to let me... Haaland, did you? I had Haaland as my captain today on FPL, actually. Yeah, I did. I messed up. I should have waited. Honestly, when I tweeted it, I didn't think. But now with hindsight, I should have waited until the game finished to tweet that. I feel bad on Brighton. The football god said, no, we're not letting you do that, bruv. But it's a good bit of food for my haters. It's a good bit of food for my haters. I'm sure they'll find something to do. Man United asked Man City if Garnacho and Mainu could... Yeah. I've heard about that. This is very normal in football. This is what's so ironic about it. It isn't about Man United saving costs per se. Quite often clubs come together, and you saw it with the Brazilian guys because they posted it. We saw it. The private plane that flew them to and from Brazil was paid for collectively by their respective football clubs. They all contributed a part. So they weren't, because they wanted them back quicker. They wanted them back in style, more room, more places to sleep. It's just quite normal for clubs to share these types of facilities and moments. It's been very much twisted into Man United are acting broke and piggybacking, but it's quite normal. It really, really is. And if you go through a lot of these players' Instagrams when they're traveling to things, when they're going to events or when they're going on international duty, you'll often see individuals from different clubs on the same flights as each other. It's quite normal. But again, it's Man United. We're everybody's biggest rival, and everybody likes that. We make news. We make news. Even when we're crap, we're still. I mean, you got to remember that story about Man United will get more hits than every other team's victory today in the Premier League. It will get somewhere in the region of 100, maybe even 500 times the amount of traffic. So that's why these stories are written. I'm used to it by now. Been my whole life. We do normal things. It's considered weird, but there we go. Mo and V are with me now. Welcome back to the show, gentlemen. V, another close game in terms of scoreline, but you go top of the league. Talk to me about City, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the result we wanted, but not quite the performance that we were looking for. Everybody pretty much slaps these guys up, and we sneak out of there with a 1-0. So I'm going to take it and run because it is about the 3 points. It is about getting results without some key guys missing. I heard you with regards to goal scoring. I mean, I don't think you'll hear any City fan that would disagree and say we don't need others to step up and contribute on the scoring end, because Haaland is phenomenal as he is, giving us, I think, 27 last year, and obviously setting the record the season before. We can't necessarily rely on it, but we do need other players to step up and give us maybe double-digit goal contributions in the likes of Foden, Savinho, Doku, Grealish. I don't think we can really expect that, but they need to give us 5, give us 6, maybe 7, and also be there on the assist side. So yeah, you're 100% right where scoring needs to improve. What I did like to see was just control. Yeah, everybody's going to get a chance. This is the thing, rivals. Everyone's going to get a chance versus City or any opponent. You're not going to keep them away from having opportunities. It's about how many do they have and how dangerous are they. So I was really calm with the result. Obviously, late. Could they do something to mess up the weekend? They didn't. And Haaland, when I was on a few shows, Igal in particular wanted to say, do I want to talk about the goal drought, his scoring drought? Never a concern, because Haaland's relentless with his movement. He's relentless with what he has to do. And this is where, Terry, I agree. Haaland is relentless. He continues to move. Now, when they try to take him out of the game, someone else has got to step up. Someone else has got to score when he pulls defenders out of space, or when a shot is made, or a far post. Someone else needs to step up. And Savinho, give him some more time. He'll be all right. Savinho's going to be all right. Doku injured, unfortunately. I think Doku's going to cook. I think Doku is going to cook because he's too threatening. He's too threatening to be kept out of there. Last but not least, Ederson deserves some praise, guys. He deserves some praise. He's often talked down because he's not Alisson Becker. He's not the classic stopper, but he's a complete footballer. That's why he's so important to us. I pray he doesn't leave this summer, because I think he's been so vital. It's the reason why Pep went and got him and why we were able to do what we did. So Ederson stepped up big, kept the clean sheet, and we move. We see what happens tomorrow. All eyes on tomorrow.
Yeah, you've got your victory. Why is Igal talking about Haaland droughts? And I'll tell you as to why. This is Haaland's goal scoring record so far this season. I mean, at what point was it a drought? What, the 2 games? Like the 2 or 3 games? Like, what? There's been no more than 2 games for club or country where he hasn't scored. You can't. What goal drought, Igal? Igal, what goal drought?
Terry, I'll tell you why.
It's the hope, bro. It's the hope that kills you, bro. I swear to God, bro. Some of the people that talk about the football, you watch this Manchester City team and you see Haaland scoring. Like, by the way, the goal he scored today, people think it's an easy thing. It is very hard to adjust your body, be in that place, and get that contact with the ball. It is very hard to score. Not a lot of strikers will do that. The athleticism, of course, the flexibility, the muscles to move, to score. Bro, it is ridiculous. And people, to be honest with you, this Premier League has turned into just hope. Because last season, City were 2 points behind this. This season, Man City might not look good, but they're freaking picking up the wins. And I echo what everyone said. The opportunities the opposition gets, Man City actually corner them. They're not that dangerous sometimes. Some good opportunities here and there. But you know, you're in no time in this game, you had any doubt that even if Southampton score, okay, Man City will get another goal. Man City will win. And that is in their not good time. You know what I mean? That's not Man City's good time. Right, you know that January, February, Pep Guardiola is going to find a formula when they're going to win like 50,000 games in a row. You know that is going to happen. People have to take their opportunities. Russell Martin today for Southampton takes massive, massive positive for the way they play. And to be honest with you guys, other teams have to learn how to play against City. This is how you play against City without Rodri. They don't have Rodri this season. Play from the back. Southampton cut through the Man City's midfield a couple of times. Teams have to have the balls and have to have the guts to be able to go at the Etihad, and Southampton plays from the back, right? Some other teams should do this. The next 3 games are crucial, but also at the same time, you know that Man City are favorites in every single game with them. If Man City goes through the next 3 games with winners or even 7 points only, they'll take it and run, and they'll say, we are absolutely in to win the league. Other teams have to step up. The likes of Arsenal, Liverpool have been absolutely amazing this season. Keep it up. Arsenal need to bounce back, need to be good because there is no other team in the league. They'll be able to win against City. This notion that we only need to get 90 points, bro, give it up. Not 90 points. 90 plus points at least. 21 points. And City are getting wins, bro.
Because City are getting wins when not playing well. And we all know at some point they're going to start playing well again. There's a comment here, though, from Mustafa. And this frustrates me. Not because I'm the sort of the arbitrator of opinions about the Premier League or a defender of it. But when it says welcome to the Farmers League, people. Sorry, not an Arsenal fans, Man United fans, sorry. When you say that, do you know what annoys me about when people say that? Is City are top, yes, on 23 points, and they are the best team in the Premier League. But we're also looking at a team who over the last 5 to 6 years have become European greats. This City team will be remembered in European football in 100 years' time. They're one of the greatest English sides of all time that fit into a very small category that only Man United and Liverpool have competitors for, genuinely. That's you're talking, there's been 3 clubs that have had a team at this sort of level ever in 130, 140 years of English football. But at the same time, as people say it's a Farmers League, we've got Liverpool on 21 points that could go back top tomorrow with a win. Villa, in all fairness, look, they conceded right at the death, but Villa in 3rd place. You've got Arsenal in 4th, Brighton. Again, they should actually have 2 more points. They collapsed right at the end today, but they're 5th. We've got Nottingham Forest of all clubs, who are giant historically, only been back in the Prem a couple of years. And people keep talking. Do you know what I like about this? People keep talking about, well, when teams get promoted, none of them can stay up. Well, Brighton now, I think, are Brighton and Brentford. By the way, Brentford very good today in 9th. Had the longest runs ever for newly promoted teams who have never gone back down again. You've got Nottingham Forest that were only promoted 2 years ago that are now up there. You've got all these other teams doing really, really well, and there's still loads of matches to be played this weekend. This isn't a Farmers League. I am so sick and tired of the redefinition of a Farmers League. The Farmers League is you have City this good, and everybody else is poor.
Yeah.
To a point where most of the time in Europe, those teams will get battered. Those teams, you literally, when the drop-off is, if our second place team was the level of Fulham, then fair enough. You could say it's a Farmers League. Look at the start to the European campaign this year. The top 3 teams from the Premier League. Arsenal, I think, are 9th in that. Man United have been awful. We've been the only awful English team in all Europe's competitions. But the English teams not only are unbeaten in the Champions League, I think we've conceded 1 goal. 4 teams have conceded 1 goal between them. Something along those lines.
But there is the reason why it's called. There is the reason why for it, because of the no hope thing against Manchester City.
That's
redefining Farmers League. It's redefining.
We're not going to. Language matters, and we're not redefining. Farmers League never meant you've got one team that dominates it. It was never called a Farmers League in the 70s and 80s when Liverpool dominated it. It was never called a Farmers League in the 90s. Where, by the way, people talk about how many Premier Leagues City have won in the last 8-9 years. Look at the first 9 years of the Premier League. Fergie won the same amount. No one called it a Farmers League.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a Farmers League because you have one team that is just better than everybody else over an 8-year period, right? It's a Farmers League when you've got 1, maybe 2 really good teams, and then the drop-off in quality after that is cannon fodder, okay? We are not a Farmers League. And do you know why? I'll fight that. And if you're someone that prefers La Liga, or you're a Barca fan, or you're a Real Madrid fan, fine, I don't care. It's people that support the Premier League teams. You are diminishing anything your club then goes on to fucking achieve, because you're saying it's a farmers league. It's shit. It means nothing. Think about what your banter is. You hurt your own club. It's mad to me, bruv. It's mad to me. It's no farmers league. It ain't what it means, and we're not fucking redefining it just for people that want to play down City's success. Do you know what I'm saying? Because imagine you start to surpass the success of City's. Well, if you start to beat it, well, you can't think, oh, we beat their four-peat record. Well, you can't celebrate if you say it was in a shit league. Think about what you're doing in the long term, bruv, and drop this stupid banter bollocks. It's crap. Anyway, back to you guys. Sorry.
You know what? I want to say something. When Mo was speaking, Mo was talking about just the performance that we saw from an opposition coming to Manchester City and playing. And I would have to say that they didn't park and play overly defensive. They actually played and tried to take their shots. And when Mo's saying, you know what, other clubs need to do that because City can get at. You can get at City, especially without Rodri. And even prior to Rodri, I think the way we commit so many players forward, if you're organized, if you're smart, you can definitely get us on the counter. And not that there were many opportunities, but I thought we handled the attempts, some of those counter attempts well against us. Also, we're not looking that good, and we're getting results, which is boding really well for the attempt at going after 5. But I don't know if it just remains being City, Liverpool, and I think it might just be City and Liverpool. This game that we're about to see on Sunday, Arsenal can't afford to lose it.
By the Chelsea game, we'll know. By the Chelsea game, we'll know. Next 3 games for Arsenal: Newcastle away, Chelsea away, Liverpool at home. These 3 games will let us know. I know it's too early. People are going to say too early. But if City keeps winning like this, unless you fall off and lose like 2 games in the next 3 games, you might be 10 points ahead. And I think that's too much to catch, like, to be honest. It's nothing is impossible in football, but the percentage go way down. I don't think in the history of Pep Guardiola, he has let go of like 10 and lost.
I think Pep Guardiola.
Caught up,
I think Pep Guardiola is the difference. I think Pep Guardiola is the difference in all of this. I think that City do have the experience of winning in the team. If Pep left today for whatever reason, and even if you went and got Alonso or Inzaghi, I think it would level things out a little bit more. Where even with a 2 or 3 point lead, with all these chasing teams, I don't think you could make City the favourites, but you wouldn't be as convinced they would do it. I just think, again, it's one of those things. I think, but there's a reason why that great Liverpool team I mentioned, they had Paisley. That great Man United team had Fergie. It's just, it's almost that perfect storm at the same time, which is why I don't think the league is, as you say, a farmers league, because if Pep leaves, if Pep wasn't here in the last 8 years, City don't achieve what they achieve. If you had any other manager in world football, barring Pep, I do not believe you achieve as you'd won a lot of the leagues.
Yeah.
I think you might want a Champions League. Do I think you'd be on for a 5-peat? No. Do I think you would have done a treble? Potentially not. And that's praise for Pep. He's taken a world-class team and he's got them over the line at the same time. And by the way, I've just gone and found the definition of Farmers League. This is what they say it is. A Farmers League is a derogatory term used to describe a league that is not competitive due to a number of factors. Because these factors can include financial disparities, talent being drawn to multiple other leagues, and limited resources for player acquisitions, and a perceived overall lower quality. Now, you could argue, people could go, yeah, well, it ain't competitive because City win it all. Doesn't mean, you've literally had Arsenal and Liverpool pushing them close, like in most of those seasons. So there's competitiveness there. There's been multiple winners of League Cups and FA Cups in that time. There's been multiple winners of European trophies from England at that same time. And let's not pretend that we lose all of our talent to multiple other leagues and that we don't have money. And there is not a financial disparity between City and everybody else. There is loads of clubs that are in the top 10. The Premier League has the most teams inside the top 10 and top 15 richest clubs in European football. So honestly, stop with this. I know people want to stick it to Man City. I know people want to rip it into Man City. I get that, right? But do better. Slagging off our league and lying about it, that ain't the way, bruv. That's not it, Chief. Find a better way to criticize instead of actually dragging your own club down at the same time. It's very weird to me. Very weird behavior.
Terry, the comment that you brought to the screen, that was a United fan. And another thing is, with regards to mentioning Farmers League, during City's run, we actually aren't poaching some of the strongest talent from our ops, and obviously weakening them and strengthening us. And I would argue that United's, at United's height, they had that advantage. They had the opportunity to go and take some of the stronger players from other clubs and make sure that they remain dominant. So stop with this Farmers League talk, guys. It's stale.
This is the thing, right? Someone says that absolute rubbish, Terry. Can Southampton compete? That isn't the claim. Of course, there is no league in the world where every single team, I'm talking European football here, where every single team has the same financial power as the next. That doesn't exist in any capacity in European football. When we're saying competitive nature, so many of our clubs have multi-billionaire owners. The reason why Man United are where we are isn't because of money, it's because of how poorly run we are. There's a reason that pound for pound, Brighton are better than we are. Nottingham Forest are better than we are. Brentford are better than we are. And in fact, they're looking like they're going to finish higher than us in the league as of right now. The only thing that really in the last 5, 6, 7 years has kept us above those teams is the money that we have. Okay. But there's loads of teams with lots of money in the Premier League. So, of course, we're not saying it's completely competitive in terms of winning the league from first place to 20th place. Nobody's making that claim. But the idea this is that this league is consistently a one horse race and nobody else has the resource to compete with City is not true in bullshit, any capacity. It's just not true.
Nottingham Forest have more money than a lot of other teams as well.
No, examples, absolutely. Again, someone says, is Scotland a Farmers League? I wouldn't even call Scotland a farm. Scotland is in the sense of it's literally between two teams that always win the league title. But equally, their best teams in their league are bang average in Europe, right? So I would look at the Scottish League. If you called that a Farmers League, I wouldn't ever use that term, but that would be a league I would say. I actually think the French league, there's been a few other sides like Marseille looking quite good at the moment. There's a few teams that have stepped up. But for many years, other than PSG, the rest of it was pretty simplistic. I wouldn't classify La Liga, Serie A, or the German league as farmers leagues. I don't like the disrespect that, again, some English fans put on those leagues. Fair enough. You've got one team, the one that you maybe could look at in that way, the way Bayern Munich, the way the German structure is.
Yeah, a couple of years back, yeah.
They always seem to, they win it a lot and they have a much more competitive angle than everybody else. But that's also to do with the way that their club ownership is done. See, you can't have a team that suddenly gets an owner that comes in who can pump money into it and grow them. So their system, so I can take the argument in Germany. However, when you speak about competitiveness, look how good the Dortmunds, look how good the Leverkusens, look how good multiple German teams, look how good Stuttgart are right now, have been in Europe, again, over the last 10, 15, 20 years. So it isn't just about how they perform internally in their league, it's how good those teams are outside of it. So for me, I wouldn't put German league, especially not right now, into that category either. This is KJ that wrote this. He says competitive also stems amongst the elite leagues. Look at the race for Europe and relegation battles. It normally goes down to the final day. That's competitive. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I agree. Although there's a few teams this year that look like they're done already. I'm not going to lie. Yo, Hamza, did you move house? I don't know where that's come from.
Nah, I'm helping someone to move house. That's why I was late.
Oh, okay. Well, how did they know? How did this person know what you've been posting on the internet, Hamza?
No, I think they saw me sitting down on the floor or something. They thought, hold on, I've never been
Okay. I hear you, man. In fairness, you're always helping people or around people's houses eating dinner, to be fair. You're a very social guy like that. I like it. What did you make of Man City today? Or were you too busy to watch it while you were helping someone move?
Nah, I made sure. I said to them, everyone, I don't care, man. Move those sofas by yourself. At the end of the day, today was a tough game. Southampton are quite a tough team. But the thing is, you could criticize City and say, oh, we're playing very sluggish, slow, and it takes time for us, we're not winning the games. Boring. But I think the key thing you have to say is, how amazing. You have to look on the other side and say, how amazing is it that they're still going unbeaten? 9 games unbeaten, winning at home again, not conceding a goal, having 4 in a row. How do they get this hunger? How? You got other teams who've not won league for many years are not showing the same hunger as they do. it's quite impressive. Like, and I said it before, Terry, before, and I said to Mo before. I said, Pep Guardiola, you have to give him credit because you're thinking, if Klopp didn't win that league title, he would have won 7 in a row or 6 in a row. That's amazing. Klopp stopped him getting 6 in a row. So you look at this, like today, okay, flying off the sluggish performance, but City, the way they play is like they just know how to grind results. And you have to look at this and say, how do they do it? I think it's the mentality. This is how champions behave. When you're consistently at the top, you stay at the top, no matter how you play. You say, I don't care about how I play. I'm going to take that 3 points. And today I have to give credit. And the fact that we have a small squad, and I've been saying that before, we had again 2 keepers. We had like only 5 subs. Grealish is out, Doku's out, Kevin De Bruyne is out. But we're not making excuses like other teams. We're not saying, oh, my player is injured, so I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to every game expecting to win. We're expecting to win. If we draw, it's a failure. So, Man City to me today, I think the performance showed why we're champions. And big up Southampton. I thought it was going to be a 5-0, 6-0 win. But I think the amount of games we're playing, that's the only worry, Terry. The amount of games we're playing, every 3 days we're playing. Comes in.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I see a lot of people moaning about that. Do you guys want your club to pull out of this World Club Cup that's coming in the summer?
No, I want to pull out Carling Cup Wednesday. I'm not throwing it away straight. I'll tell you that 100%. People can call me. I've got low class mentality.
So what? No, but I'm not saying lose the game. I'm saying, do you want your club to forfeit a tournament, like actually officially pull out?
Cup, yeah. Listen, Tottenham. I'm not. Against Tottenham, I'm not playing my full team against Tottenham. No way. If Pep should be playing the likes of Makati, the youngsters, play that game. Haaland has to be rested. He's the only striker. We cannot afford not to have a striker this year. So this is what we're doing, Terry. Grind it out until January. And as soon as that whistle goes, it's New Year's Day. As you guys are partying New Year's, Happy New Year's. City, I need to see in the transfer market. Midnight, straight away. Because we need to get players in now. Because otherwise it's looking like, oh my God, it's stressful.
The reality is City have a lot of injuries, actually. If you look at it, Grealish out, De Bruyne out, Rodri out, Doku out. That's a lot of injuries, actually. That's 5 players that you might think might start. Actually, might be in the lineup. So, to be honest, Pep Guardiola is this guy that just makes it work, bro. He just makes it work. It doesn't matter what happens in the games. He just makes it work, to be honest. I've just hats off to him. There's levels between him and every other manager in the league. It was so apparent today when he's using Matias Nunes as a left wing. You know what I mean? Savio right side, Savio left side. He's just Kovacic in the DM. I think he just makes it work, to be honest. It's just, you have to be on your A game to be able to actually beat this guy and you cannot tell me injuries or not injuries. City have injuries, but they have a better squad than you. Smaller, but better squad. Why? Because the manager is coaching everyone to be at the same level. Stones today on the bench. City defense looked all right. They're not, I'm not going to say amazing, but the system and the coaching makes it work. Yeah. Makes it work, you know. You know, Alex Ferguson never complained about injuries. I don't remember Ferguson. Ferguson used to this guy's out, we're going to play this guy. Doesn't matter who played on the pitch. Yeah, Alex Ferguson always had a plan for the team. Pep Guardiola is doing the same, to be honest. Just, it doesn't matter who plays. We stick to the plan and make it work.
I listen, but that's why. And I'm not even going to use this as a dig at any other manager, because we are talking about 2 of the greatest of all time. And I mean this with no disrespect. Barring Ancelotti that's managing right now, there is nobody else that's managing right now that some might grow because they're new managers. Who knows what they'll do in the next 20 years? But no one else even is on their level. They're not on their level. And so, and that's why sometimes I think they can't even be used as a standard when you're making these comparisons. I want Arteta to do it. I want Ten Hag to do it. I want Inzaghi to do it. I want Ange to do it. It's almost like saying, it's like saying, I want Savio to do what Messi did. It's just, I think that's a stupid standard, because you're talking about like 1 or 2 players in 140 years have been that. You might have 5 to 10 players in 140 years of football that have been at Messi's level or around it. Everyone says Messi's the best, so no one's been at his level. So to hold them as unless they're at that level, fuck them. That's ridiculous. I think the same when it comes to managers. Sometimes it's just a case of this guy is who he is. There is something I want to speak about, though. Now, I want to preface this. It's like a disclaimer. This isn't City's fault. There's no accusation here at City. City didn't cheat. Can we as a panel ensure that the conversation doesn't go down the line that I'm trying to attack City in any way? Can we all agree to that ahead of time?
Sure.
All right. Go ahead.
Cool.
Present your argument first.
It's not an argument. I saw Lallana get booked I was doing something and I heard he got booked and I looked. I've just seen what happened in the game. The PGMOL have just made an act that they're in trouble now, in my opinion. Foden stands in the way of a free kick that Lallana was trying to take quickly. So as Lallana goes to kick it, the ball hits him. The ref blows the whistle to tell everyone to calm down. Foden then stands in the way again, and Lallana kicks the ball and it hits him. And Lallana gets booked for Foden stopping a quick free kick. Now, listen, Foden has done, by the way, what hundreds of players do, and I've been talking about it all year. Little flicking the ball away. What about the players that stand in front of it? This is why I know these referees are not corrupt, but stupid. Look at the fuss that has been made around delaying restarts. And a player stands in front of a free kick, so therefore the ball gets kicked at him because he's delaying it, and you've booked the player that kicked the ball. For me, that is a red rag to a ball. I'm not blaming City. City have done nothing wrong. It wouldn't have changed the game. I'm taking nothing away from City. But objectively speaking, is this crazy that a player has just been booked because his restart was delayed?
Actually, Terry, I don't think you have seen. Hold on. I don't think you have seen the right angle. Actually,
Exactly.
It's actually Lallana's fault. I just watched it in the beginning. I'm with you. I actually don't think you've seen the right angle. The referee literally told Lallana move it to the left. Literally told Lallana this. I'm gonna send you that. I know.
Right. Okay. Is that what you?
I just watched it from the right angle now. The angle behind the goal shows the referee telling Lallana to move it this way, and Lallana refused to do that.
Right, so he's pointing, saying go back to it. Right, that makes sense. That makes sense. That in fairness,
I know. Cool. You're trying to. I know.
No, I'm not trying to do anything.
No, he didn't see it. He wasn't trying to imply.
No. I know. In the beginning.
Let me speak, otherwise people won't hear what I'm saying. I've seen it from one angle, and it looks like that. Now you've said that, I'm looking for the other angle. I'm going by what Sam Lee, who's a journalist, tweeted. I didn't see it. And then I've seen one camera angle, and it's like Foden stands in front of him to delay the restart. But are we saying that the referee was saying that the ball weren't in the right position?
Yeah, before the ball even kicked, he told Lallana it's this way.
Can you? Okay, but can you not see the
private chat?
Hang on. But can we not see the problem here?
Because he wants to move the ball.
No. Can't we see the problem?
What's the problem?
When Declan Rice flicked the ball away, the Brighton player was trying to take the free kick 5-6 yards away from where it should have been taken. Stop. Because you are trying to defend City. No, you're defending City, and it ain't about City. I'm talking about PGMOL pissing people off with their bullshit, right? And this is what I mean. The referee has probably done the right thing here by saying, no. The free kick hasn't been delayed because you're taking it from the wrong position. But when the Howard Webb and the PGMOL were challenged with, yes, Declan Rice has flicked it away, but whatever that defender's name was at Brighton was trying to take the free kick. So please let me finish talking. When he turned around and said, when he was challenged, Howard Webb, by Michael Owen, when Gallagher was challenged by the panel, that what about the free kick trying to be taken from the wrong position? They said, no, it doesn't matter. The player standing in front of the ball or flicking the ball away has committed the first offense. So I'm just wondering, I would love to now see both these things played to Howard Webb to see what he says. Because, by the way, I think booking Foden in that scenario, the same as I thought booking Declan Rice, would all be bullshit. I think the whole thing's bullshit. But the hypocrisy is mental. It's mental.
But Terry, I'm just going to talk to under 18. Any kids watching, this is calling clutching on straws. This is the definition when you clutch on straws. Yeah? Because you are picking up something that is completely irrelevant. Declan Rice was a criminal. Criminal to do what he did. Someone's calling.
You got a phone
Someone,
call. You got a
it
phone
must
call.
be you. You're calling on the door.
You know what I didn't understand? Come on, Hamza. You know what I didn't understand, Terry, to be honest? Is why is Lallana getting a yellow card? Like, I didn't understand that part.
So, you know, I
That
get
part
it.
was weird, though.
The problem with these conversations, though, is it's become so tribalistic, and people are trying to, and no disrespect to Hamza, Hamza is getting defensive of his club and trying to attack Arsenal. This isn't about Arsenal or Man City. This is about what the people that govern our game told us. When they were challenged about Declan Rice's situation and the ball not being in the place where the foul took place, they basically told us that was irrelevant. Now what we've seen is the situation happened again in reverse, but this time, because the ball weren't in the right place, Foden wasn't delaying a game, and Lallana's been booked for not putting the ball back where he should have put it. This is why I've got a problem with the PGMOL from the start. It isn't that they made the mistake around booking Rice. It's that they have spent 3 months defending themselves, creating crazy narratives, only to be caught out now. And again, people that hate Arsenal are not going to like hearing this, but this ain't about Arsenal. It's about what they tell us about the rules of the game. They're a bunch of clowns, bruv. I'm telling you, they are.
I get your point,
clowns.
but it's inconsistency.
I would just say that you find another reference point. This one doesn't really, I don't really fits with what you want to bring back to the Arsenal game. But with regards to,
sorry, why doesn't it?
Because the ball that was trying to be kicked wasn't put to where the ref already told the player where to put it.
Exactly.
So he was told and ignored that. Where in the other case, he didn't give those instructions yet.
But that's exactly the point that was being made when Webb and Co were asked the question, "What about the attempted free kick by Brighton not being in the right place?" They just said irrelevant. They were challenged about the ball moving still. They said irrelevant. But we've already seen that it's not irrelevant because in this scenario, Foden isn't delaying the restart. He's stopping somebody from taking a free kick in the wrong position. My point all along is I think they're very, very clear examples of they pick and choose these referees when they want to use the letter of the law. They pick and this is my problem all along. The problem is with football fans is that we are all at times too tribalistic. I don't want to defend Arsenal, or I feel like you're shitting on my club, or I feel like you're trying to take something away from me, or I don't like how you're bigging them up. It's nothing to do with that. It's about the inconsistencies. And my biggest problem is the way that they've done it all season. They go, but by the letter of the law, this is what we're meant to do. And then a week later, they'll ignore the fucking letter of the law and hurt somebody else. And the reason I'm calling it out is because if we don't, one day, this inconsistency will damage and hurt your football club and my football club. But again, people will just make it about Arsenal because of their hatred towards them, and that's on them, I suppose.
Probably because Arsenal get a lot of calls against them, and people have to do. And Arsenal are the team challenging Man City. The conversation has to be about them because they're not winning at the current moment. I promise you, if Arsenal got the red card and stuff, and Arsenal are winning, we're not going to have the same conversation.
This is the kind of comment I'm talking about. Terry pretends to be fair, but he has an anti-City agenda. So on this stream, I have praised that Haaland's goal was no tapping. I have stated European greats. What have I just sat here and said about Pep and the level that he's at and what he does for this team? I've defended Man City by pushing back against everybody that calls it a farmers league to try and diminish what they have achieved. I said before talking about the foul, this has fuck all to do with City. In fact, it has nothing to do with Arsenal. I'm talking about what the PGMOL told us about decision-making. And your reaction is, Terry has an anti-City agenda. That stinks, brother. That is an absolutely stink. V, I know he's a fellow City fan. Put him in his place after saying that about me. Sorry, brother. I'm handing it to you.
I don't consume all of your content, Terry, so he could have a point. I don't know. With regards to the agenda, in this instance, Pep, you're wrong. In this instance, Pep Talk, you're wrong with regards to what Terry was saying. He just didn't see all of the angles when he tried to imply this City example and the Arsenal example. And Mo, rightfully so, checked it out and said, hey, look at things differently. But hey, Terry's pretty consistent.
But this is a great point. This is what it will come back. You still put it out there. And this is what's really funny. I see this all the time now in the football world. if there's a topic that people don't like, so for instance, this story today about Man United looking to share City's airline.
Yeah, you downplayed
airplane
it
thing.
really well. I like how
I didn't downplay. It happens all the time. It's very normal, and it's not a problem, right? The point is, if it was the other way around and I brought it up, the same people that are saying, you're brokies, they would be saying, well, what are you fucking bringing it up for? It's normal. You're absolutely right here, Chills, is people don't, City fans, because I brought this incident up, feel like I'm attacking their club because it involves their club. But it's nothing to do with Man City. It's to do with the referees. Nothing to do with them. Because what did I say? Foden shouldn't have been booked.
Yeah.
It's fine what he did. It's normal. Terry, you can't talk to pep sexuals. Listen, they're not all like that. They're not all of them are like that. Thank you very much, by the way. I know I'm right on this. And again, it's not that I'm saying it's about Arsenal or City. I'm talking about what Howard Webb said. It's just hilarious. It really, really is. A super chat here says, no, I said that because he's always gets a green screen from some elite living room. Oh, but he literally was.
Yeah.
No, but this is the point. She didn't know he's moving house, but he was. That's freaky, isn't it? She only
because Hamza always has this green screen behind him. So when he didn't.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
But that is
the
freaky.
Comment about your moving house, and he was actually moving
someone's house. That's a bit weird, you know. That's actually strange. I like that. Would you classify Scotland as a farmers' league? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would personally. Yeah, I would probably.
So hold on, Terry. I got to go back to this whole.
I'm gonna head out, guys. Just
all right, bro. Yeah.
See you guys. See you,
Terry. I got to go back to this. You know, with United looking to share a plane. How you addressed it. The reason why I said, you dismissed it and you said it was pretty normal. Let's be honest. If it was the other way around and United had turned down Manchester City for our players wanted to catch a ride on the private jet, you would have spent more than a couple 2 minutes being like, hey, it's normal. Da-da-da.
Find me any content I've done about that type of thing ever before.
What do you mean find you content? Where you might banter a rival?
No. Find the content from me where I've focused on a nothing story like that about a rival club and spent more than 2 minutes on it. Doesn't exist.
All right, I'll take the challenge.
If you can find it, bring it to me. But I wouldn't have. I'm a bit like this. Like I don't. People say this is policing banter. I don't necessarily think it is. But when it's banter, I like it to hit hard and be good. Sort of going, you wanted to share a plane. When I've just seen so many Instagram posts in the last few years of footballers from different Premier League teams on private planes together, flying off in international breaks or coming back at the same time or going to different awards and things. It's happened before. We'll probably all notice it more now because it's the red car theory. Because this story's gone out to attack Man United, we'll see it. But equally,
footballers sharing a plane on holiday is very different than a club destination for players on assignment.
But the clubs are often paying for this. So what will happen is, depending on what country they play for, there isn't always the budget to fly. Like Brazil might do it, I don't know. But what I was told is they don't fly all their players that are spread around the world in private jets to their location. They offer them commercial flights. But the football clubs come together and say, look, we want to send you on a private plane. There's more leg room, more spacious. You can sleep better. Less waiting around time, better for your health, better for your fitness. So the clubs will come together and they will share that cost. There's probably, like in normal things in life, one club will be the one who books it and the others will filter in financially to it. Or maybe they take it in turns. And, okay, Fulham get it this time and then City get it the time after. Yeah. That's what they do. And how do I know this? What was my job before I did all this? I worked in the biggest football finance department of the biggest bank in the country that deals with football finance. And these types of things are relatively normal. That went on. So for me, I read this and just thought this is a nothing story. But again, it's Man United and there's a big story about us cost. The irony about us cost cutting is amazing. We've been laughed at for losing money and overspending for 17 years. We start cost cutting and then we're laughed at for being brokies. And it's like, so this is how I know there's hate. This is what I mean when I call out, like the refereeing decision earlier. I do it for all clubs. I did it for City on the same stream. I'm not going to sit there and in one hand talk about how good Arsenal are or say how good Liverpool are this season, but then go, oh yeah, it's also a farmers league because City are the only team winning it. That's talking out of both sides of your mouths. I can't sit here as a Man United fan and allow, in terms of for it to go without challenge. Like I can't stop people doing things, of course.
I hear
People
it.
saying you guys are idiots for overspending and you waste so much money and you lose so much money. And then when we start operating in a more frugal way, a more thrifty way, you guys are brokies. Why don't you go and spend and lose loads of money again? I'm not going to sit there and just let it go unchallenged. That's what I would say to it.
No, it's like, well, it's kind of like what Sir Ratcliffe has done with Sir Alex Ferguson with regards to cutting costs.
Well, but I agree with it. I mean, in fairness, I said this I said this on a stream on the Full-Time Devils about 10 years, maybe quite not, about 10 years ago, when it came out that he was getting paid like £4 or £5 million a year. My reaction was, why? He's worth like 60, 70, 80 million. I said, what? I personally said, I think we should be asking him to do that ambassadorial role for free. I'll tell you why. Because there's only a limited amount of money the club can pay anybody. There's a limited amount of money, right? We all know that. I would rather pay money to ex-players that played for us in an era where they didn't become millionaires. And they're now, because a lot of the amount of Man United and City players, by the way, from the 50s, 60s, 70s, who have had to sell cup winners medals, sell shirts, sell England caps just to be able to make ends meet. That is where I'd rather see my club's money go, to helping those people. I love Sir Alex. I've got so much respect for him, but somebody worth that amount of money, I would rather not pay them any more money. I'd rather it go to other people connected to my football. I'd rather it go to charities. I'd rather it go to the local community than pay a man that's already exceedingly wealthy even more money, no matter who it is.
I hear it. I think it might be different if you guys were at a point of success, but he gets dragged along. He gets dragged on to many events because of obviously his image.
I get that. Can I ask you a question? Let's just say in 10 years' time, Pep retires and City want to offer him £5 million a year to be an ambassador. Would you rather that £5 million a year goes to him, or would you rather it go to your players from the 80s and 90s who were struggling financially?
Terry, when you present it that way in terms of people struggling financially, yes, I would want the money to go to helping people struggling financially. However, I don't believe that the cost cutting with regards to Sir Alex Ferguson from Ineos and Sir Ratcliffe is now going into the hands of those players or managers that are struggling.
Okay, but I'm asking you that question based on where I would rather, talking about my original point,
where
I'd rather it go. However, I would also rather it go to that $3 million, $4 million, £5 million a year be spent on recruiting young talent into the academy. I'd rather right now that money be pumped into the women's game at Man United, which gets far less money than the men's team do. So there's so many other areas that I would like to see that money pumped into than paying an exceedingly wealthy man money. It doesn't have any decision-making power at Man United. He's an ambassador, and he's already agreed. This is the irony, right? He's agreed to do the same role for free because he loves the club. So you needn't pay him. It's crazy that everyone's making it out to be a big bad thing.
I mean, it's good PR for him to say he'd still do it for free. However, he signed that contract he signed that agreement because he wanted the money. And everybody in the chat, everybody would agree. If you're taking from the wealthy to also help those less fortunate, of course you would do it. I happen to believe that taking the money away from Sir Alex Ferguson does not go back to the women's game, does not go back to the youth scouting. So it's just a matter of.
So where's it going then? Where are they putting that money? All the cost cutting things Man United have done. Where do you think Ineos are putting that money?
Have they declared it yet?
But where do you think they're going to put it?
No, well, how your owners have moved in their pockets.
So you think Ineos are just going to take the money and put it into their own pockets?
Or they may go into improving your stands or whatever it may be, but I don't think the money's been designated yet. It's like we're cutting costs.
Okay, but you're saying that you don't think it's going to be put into the women's game, youth, buying players. Where do you think they'll put it?
To be completely honest, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know. I could never answer that.
So you don't know if it's going to a good area or a bad area?
You and I don't know this.
So,
we know that cut costs.
Therefore, if you have no idea where it's going, good, bad, or indifferent, why would you criticize the cost cutting if you don't know where it's going yet?
Because with regards to cost cutting Sir Alex Ferguson, and here's where the multiplier effect is, because you mentioned Pep. I think if Pep is under contract or any great is under contract to make appearances, that appearance is also because there's certain influential people around to be able to be amongst them, right? You're paying to also have access to be around these experiences. So yes, Sir Alex Ferguson's going to do it for free, great. But he was doing it in the past because it also elevated experiences for CEOs or whoever were going into these boxes, getting whatever tour, hugging Sir Alex Ferguson. I think there's a ripple effect. We'll see what Ineos do. We'll see what Ineos do. But it was funny to see Sir Alex Ferguson get quote unquote the sack before your man Ten Hag.
There we go. Look, I want to thank. Actually, I've got a few supers here. Can you even name 5 players from the 80s and 90s challenge? I mean, if you want me to, very, very simple. Even Clayton Blackmore, we can throw in there from the 80s. There's what's his name? He owns a fish and chip shop that's around the corner. I love this guy. I nearly said Rory McIlroy. That isn't his name. Who else we got from the 80s that I used to really like? Because again, these players are old. Obviously, you got Robson, who's a great example. There's Lou Macari was the guy that I was thinking about. That was his name. Really good striker for us. Did very, very well indeed. And then you go into the 90s, and obviously it's very easy because I was a little bit older then to obviously remember the class of 92. But you can do the players that came before that. Obviously the Steve Bruces and the Gary Pallisters, the Paul Parkers of this world. So yeah, loads. Since you've mentioned it, Veltman took the free kick about 3 feet from the original position. You could be right. I know. Again, I actually don't think either should have been yellow cards. The point I'm making is that every single thing they said to defend the right decision, the opposite has happened in this one. What I would, again, if I was going to make good TV, if I was working for Sky, I'd now be getting those 2 examples, showing them to Howard Webb and go, explain the difference. That would make compelling TV. They won't, though, because they're in bed with them. I'll challenge you then, Terry. Find me an example where it is normal. Just don't waffle and show it. Well, I can't be out there showing you internal receipts that were paid for via a bank that I worked for. But what we'll do over the course of time, it's a good challenge, is when we start seeing more and more of these posts come from players where they're sharing these facilities for club events, or sort of, not really club events, because the Ballon d'Or is not a club event. It's like an individual event, or going to international duty. As and when these pictures get posted, we'll just kind of share them. It's going to get very tedious and boring, though. I will let that in, but there we go. Look, I want to thank everybody that has tuned in. Don't be pedantic, Terry. The Premier League is a farmers' league. I know that it's not a farmers' league. Look, I want to thank everyone who was tuned in. Congratulations to City today for their win and going top. We're back tomorrow with more content for you. Big match reactions tomorrow for all the games. I'm off now to watch the UFC. So take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.